Welcome back to Scottlin Talks, moving you from uncertainty to empowerment through the power of joy. I'm Ann Scottlin, author, teacher, and founder of the Power of Joy workshops, a program that cultivates emotional well-being for better business and for personal growth. You can check more about me on my website at annscottlin.com and more about my workshops there as well, and my new book, The Power of Joy. So I have with me today Chris Booth, or Christopher Booth, who is the founder of the brand By Christopher. Chris is a songwriter. He writes original piano music, and I love his theme and motivation behind it because he creates music specifically for mental health awareness. So on a show where we talk so much about joy, I wanted to invite him in today to share with us more about what he does and the gift of music that he's bringing into the world, and that I know has definitely touched my life. So welcome, Christopher. So happy to have you here today.
Hello, Anne. Happy to be here too. How are you?
I am good. It's a sunny day and I have so much to be grateful for, and just really looking forward to this and hearing some music later.
Music. Did I promise that to you, or is that was
Yeah,
that
I
what?
think it was a
Oh,
request,
okay.
possibly.
It wasn't
So
in the contract. I didn't see. Okay.
entirely up to you.
Okay.
Um, but um, but let me know. Tell me a little bit more about what brought you to music. First of all, just in your own life, like how did you get
Yeah.
into music in the very beginning, and what kind of music?
Well, I think for most kids, when you put an instrument in front of them, they're gonna bang on it to a certain degree. But I banged a little bit more than most, and my mom was the one that got me started on it. She offered, said, "Do you want to take lessons?" And I think I was 6.5, 7 years old, and said yes, and away I went. My grandfather was really a big influence. He wasn't the one that took me to lessons, but he was the one that exposed me to classical music,
Mhm.
and that was such a powerful influence on me because I loved being with my grandpa growing up on the farm and just being out there, and it was with him everywhere he went. So between my mom taking me to weekly lessons and then obviously having that influence of classical music, it was just a big music household, and
Mm.
lots of positivity with that. So that was how I got my start in it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so amazing. And clearly, just kind of fell in love with it as a kid then.
Yeah, I tell a story often of how I would literally, as a 8, 9, 10 year old, be on the piano 7, 8 hours a day,
Wow.
eating meals there. Just it was an obsession almost, but in a healthy one, because I loved what I did. I had a pet parakeet growing up that would come sit on my shoulder and then sit on the keys as I played, and just my bird would listen to me and I'd play for my bird, and eventually my mom and friends and family. And so it was just something that I got good at really quick because of the amount of time I put into it. So
You got your 10,000 hours by the time you were,
yeah,
12
but
or
yeah, pretty much.
It's
Yeah.
like,
I was gonna say 8, but okay, yeah, 12.
maybe 8. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I know the power of music has always been really important in my own life. I didn't grow up in a musical family at all. I mean, I had the, traditional prerequisite requisite piano lessons, I
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
Which I struggled. I was terrible at practicing, but I loved music. I grew up in my family was involved in their church, and so there was a lot of music there, and I got actively involved in that. And then later in high school and college, never mastered an instrument, but loved to sing. Played a variety of different things. I played handbells for a year. It's kind of
I
crazy
did
stuff.
the choir chimes. Did you do the thing?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
yeah, I had the top 7, so I was always moving. um, yeah, so it was fun, and just love music. And I think, I've always had an introspective personality to a certain extent. And so just music was always there to kind of help me heal and reflect. And if I wasn't relating to someone, or I was down. My go-to was one, my dog. That was like go-to number one. And then my
Mm,
go-to number two was music, but not the traditional music that most kids and teens are drawn to.
mm,
It may have been partly because my parents had a very heavy influence on what we were allowed to listen to. So, to be fair, um, but a lot of it was more in like this inspirational, motivational kind of music, classical music,
yeah.
a lot of feeling music. With that could be happy, that could be sad. If I just wanted to sit in the dark and listen to Moonlight Sonata, it's a great, great salve for teenage depression.
I was just playing that piece right before I came on. So yeah,
No way.
it's a great song, and yeah.
Oh, yes, it is such a wonderful song. So I just developed that appreciation and never really changed. In fact, I laugh because I'm terrible at keeping up with contemporary music. And I'm like, please don't make me play a trivia game when there's music involved because I will be completely useless to your team.
I'm that guy. I'm that guy when I'm watching Jeopardy and they say classical music, and every one of those people miss the question. I'm over there answering every single one.
Like,
I'm like, I need to be on Jeopardy, but that's really the category that I'd be good at.
right, the one category. It's like if it
Yeah.
was a Jeopardy team, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, so my ideal Jeopardy is like classical music, opera, composers, things like that, you know.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's
Uh,
wonderful, wonderful stuff. Um, yeah, so we share a lot of similar interests in the kind of
mm,
music that brings us healing and happiness. But you only got really started in your sort of your professional career in the last several years, so maybe a little longer. So take us through a little bit of your story.
yes. So the brand by Christopher was started in 2017, and that was started as a concept for me because I had a period of time in my life where I had lost my mom in 2012, and that was a dark time for anybody that really loses a loved one, especially a parent. And she was younger; she was only 59, so it was quite a shock when we lost her. And I kind of went into, I would say, a depression. Period of my time where I detached from music because music to me was so much attached to her because I would write music for my mom at 9, 10 years old when she had her episodes of depression.
Mm,
And it was a way of bringing her into my life because she really did like that music. And so she would
mm,
show up when I played. And I really learned quickly that, hey, if this makes mom come into my life, I can do more and I can give her more and I can write more. And so it really fueled that energy and almost kind of like oh gosh, what's the word? Like a purpose to what I was doing, right? There's a reason to write because it's bringing someone who I love into my life. And so, I did that, and she then encouraged it as I got older, and then that's when I did write an album in 2001 titled Journeys, and she helped me with that a lot. I was only 8 years old, 17, 18 years
wow.
old when I did that. And I would go to malls and play, and she'd sit there in the outside the food court and sell my CDs, and it was it was a different time back then, it was a different time. I mean, CDs,
Right.
what's that? um, that's kind of was her involvement with me musically. So losing her there was a big detachment from that, and I didn't want to have anything to do with writing, playing, that sort of thing. It took about 5 years before I sat down at the piano again and decided to see music could, how I would feel about it. At first it was an experiment. It was like, let's see what happens. How am I going to react? And I started realizing that music could be a form of therapy for me. And as I began to start to write songs and think about, hey, maybe I can get back into this, the concept of a brand and the concept of writing for mental wellness really kind of takes shape and form. And so I was thought, well, hey, I have come from a family that deals with mental illness and suffers with mental health challenges. um, what if I started writing some songs and put it on the internet, YouTube, and let, see what that could do. And so I wrote 3 songs for mental health awareness in 2017. And like I said, it was for me first and foremost, but it was to help others, and the response I got was really, really positive. People kept saying, "Wow, we want more of this. We love what you're doing. Can you give us meditation music, different things?" And so from that spawned other projects, other ideas. Like I just mentioned, a meditation series. I did a full piano album,
Mhm.
just released this year actually. And so, as it's grown, as the channel's grown, as my brand has grown a little bit, I've found more purpose from behind my music, and it's given me a why for doing it, not just for me, because I firmly believe that you have to be in a good place first and foremost before you can go out and assist others. Because if you're not good, you're not going to do you're not many people are going to benefit from that. So I had to be good first and foremost, and I was able to get myself to a place where I felt comfortable sharing that and sharing my personal story through music, because really everything I write is a part of my story. And it's people experience the music in their own ways. That's the beauty of music, as you just mentioned, Dan. It's not about you know, one person liking it, everybody's going to like this song. It's what speaks to you musically. And so if you're doing something for yourself, whether it's my music or whether it's someone else's or something else, it's being aware enough to know that you're actually doing it for you and giving yourself that gift, and that 5 minutes every day to be selfish.
Mhm.
And that's what my brand is about promoting that selfishness for yourself, because we need that. So that's kind of a little summary of kind of
Mhm.
what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, where it's come from, and as it continues to build, I hope to impact more and more people's lives positively through sound.
Amazing. And I know you will. I just love the intention you have behind the music. I know many artists have intention behind their work, and musicians, but I feel like this is kind of, a lot of people create a certain style of music and then they find the audience, um, kind of see who clicks with it. And I feel like yours is just a little more intentional, which is you said, I'm creating a tool for mental wellness
Hmm.
and I've used it and I found how it works. And now I want to share this with other people. And I'm just going to put it out there and hopefully draw in these people, which are coming in because they're benefiting so much from it. And just sort of beautiful to have that giving mission as opposed to just, I mean, all artists want to express, but not just for yourself, but it really
Yeah.
expressing it in a way that's supporting others in their health and wellness and their joy. So I just think that's really amazing that you do that. And I know that I'm one of those people who, music speaks to me so deeply, but I'm also just one of these kind of type A hardworking personalities. So I literally will forget to listen to
Yes.
music. And
I
you know that feeling?
well, I think
Maybe
I
not.
think because, well, yes and no, because I mean music to me is so much up in my head. I'm
True.
hearing things all the time that are just, it's hard for people to understand exactly how that process works. But actually turning on some music, I think people ask me all the time, what do you do music therapy? Kind of like you get people in
Mhm.
a room and play over them, and it's like, well, no, I mean that's yes, people do that, but that's not what I'm doing. I think
Yeah.
what people do daily when you go and turn on that song, and in the morning, or you're in the shower, or you're
Mhm.
wherever you're listening to your jam, you're doing a form of music therapy. You're not aware of it, you're not
Sure.
thinking about it, right? So kind of to change it up a little bit, I'm saying, okay, start thinking about it. Be intentional about this next
Mhm.
5 minutes of song, whatever you're listening to, whatever it
Mhm.
is. I don't care if it's rock and roll. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
hip hop, classical. Be intentional. If it's making you feel good, it's putting you into a good place. Now take that
Mhm.
energy, take that excitement, that you time, and go forth and conquer.
Yeah, right.
if that makes sense. But I think music therapy is kind of a loose term because it's kind of like saying aromatherapy. Are
Yeah.
you an aromatherapist? Well, no, we all just went to Bed Bath and Beyond and bought some some basic stuff and we
Right.
lit it off in our house. It doesn't need to be a
Right.
professional. So,
Yeah. True.
that's the
True. No, I love that. I love that. I think that's so true because uh, also there's something to be said for, as a teacher and a coach myself,
Mhm.
intentionality. I talk a lot, work a lot with my clients in my workshops and one-on-ones with about around intentionality of like, it's just like physical health, right?
Mhm.
Like what you're feeding into your body, what kind of food you're eating, what kind of beverages you're drinking on a regular basis, what's the focus? And is that something that's going to make you feel overall healthier and happier and more alert? And music too, I
Well,
think
I'm
we're
gonna
so
I'm gonna
used to music in the background that we, and for some people, or, we just walk into stores and then we kind of forget, well, what kind of impact is this having, over a long term?
yeah, I'll make you think about it a
Yeah.
little differently too, because a lot of people think, well, they turn on music, I'm going to feel good, right? There's a, and this is myself included, there's a good percentage of people out there that turn on music to release emotion,
Hmm.
to release, to heal.
Right.
And that's what I did. It wasn't all the songs I wrote were not from a place of joy. It was a
Hmm.
place of darkness, place of
Hmm.
sorrow. Now, the sound that may come through to the listener that doesn't know my story may sound beautiful and peaceful and harmonious, but that's what makes music an individual experience, because what I hear and what I feel into a song doesn't make that what you're going to hear and feel as well. It's very individual. And so a lot of people listen. You hear if you've ever been to a symphony, right? And you're listening to a masterwork of Beethoven, and you just sit there and you allow the tears just to flow, right? It's that joy that's coming from within, or maybe healing, or maybe something that's reminded you of a past trauma that it's allowing you to move forward and move beyond that, right? And that's I think another powerful side of music that a lot of people don't think about actively every single day.
Hmm.
So I offer that kind of as a something to think about as well
Yeah.
when you do your music therapy, or something to get your day going as well.
Yeah, because it's sort of like art appreciation, right? I
Yeah,
mean, if
yeah.
you're being told, well, this is how this is supposed to make you feel, then you kind of art has lost its intention. Occasionally there's a very specific message, but for anything that's subjective, which I think music can be, of course, um, is this beauty to it that it makes it personal. You can only take away what you see, what you find, what you hear.
Hmm.
That's what you end up taking away with you, and which is really beautiful because then it's like it's customized for you, even though it wasn't necessarily written for you personally. But it makes that difference, it makes that impact.
But therein
And
lies the joy.
yeah, and therein lies the joy, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm in one of my workshops right now. I do the Power of Joy workshops, and the group that I'm working in this month, we're working on this right now, which is, we go through a variety of different things. What is joy? What's the difference between joy and happiness? How do you lose joy, or what are the things stealing your joy? I call them joy thieves. And then this week we're working on how to connect to your joy. And music for me is one of those, finding the things in your life that make you feel in your best self, that make you feel well, that make you feel grounded. Um, because for me, joy, and the way I teach around joy, is that your life can be bumpy, but your joy can be holding you up underneath. It's not so much like
Hmm.
traditional happiness that we hear of from media and advertising, which is, well, if you have the right money and the right house and the right significant other and this and that, then you might be happy. We kind of have
Well,
had poisoned that word a little bit.
that's I was trying to think of kind of you kind of challenged me there in bringing that up, and I just was thinking as you were explaining that, yeah, happiness to me is or happiness can be like, hey, I got the new iPhone today, I'm really happy because I got
Yeah,
the
right.
iPhone, right? But a year from now when the battery's going dead, you're not so happy anymore, or But
Yeah.
joy is something that for me, like music, that doesn't go down over time, or I'm less enthusiastic tomorrow because whatever. I'm just as excited to listen to a symphony tomorrow as I was 10 years ago, right? Or for instance, my daughter, right?
Mm.
She brings me joy. I'm not more tired of her now because she's a year old. She's just as exciting, and I'm more excited to watch her grow and stuff. So that, yeah, I mean, that's, I think, for
Yeah.
me, that's kind of how I think of it.
That's amazing. And yeah, it's so foundational. I describe
Yeah.
it, there's many people have used this metaphor for different things, but if you talk of it like a lake, right out in the mountains, there's going to be wind, there's going to be storms. Some days you're totally still. Some days you have little ripples, there's a little breeze. Some days you have an all out crazy storm, there's big waves beating on the beach. And that's sort of our super conscious, that's our conscious, I would rephrase that, our conscious mode, the little irritations, the bill that didn't get paid, the problems that you're having, interpersonal issues, work challenges. Like these are the little waves that are in many ways inevitable to life. Like you might be able to minimize some of your storms with intention, but they're always going to be waves. But what's underneath is the lake. The lake
Mhm.
always stays the same. It's the same water, it's always there. And to me, that's the joy. On the surface, you
Mhm.
might have a really happy day, and another day, you might have a loss or something very traumatic that happens.
Mhm.
But what having the joy, deeper joy, and the kind of joy that I experience from your music, it's that buoy that kind of holds you up. It's sort of like, in the end, I'm still okay, and I have this support underneath me. And what that does is you don't crash as low because you have sort of that system. So bringing the pieces of that into your life that you can count on when you do have those storms is tremendously important to recognize.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's I think there's a lot of to be said when you talk about the waves and going up and down, because there's that up and down in people's lives. But when you see people that are what you call chaos in their lives, their ups are really high and their lows are really low. And to have a well balanced life, you want to minimize, have not have those ups as up and those lows as kind of have more of a balance going through your life. Yes, you're going to have those waves, but how high are those waves going and how fast are you coming down off of them is the
Yes.
question.
Absolutely. And it's so, so true. And I can say from my own experience and working on myself and working with my clients, I have seen tremendous changes in how the waves happen. Someone um, who starts practicing mental wellness, supporting their mental wellness with the right people, with the right tools, celebrating joy, bringing the things like music into their life that really support them. Some people it's pets, that's one of mine. Having those, building those pieces. And then I see people now, they might not have been clinically ill,
Hmm.
but people who tend to kind of stumble into depression or anxiety, like it's always kind of coming and going, and it doesn't take them to a standstill. It's not to that level, but just the kind that we all get every day.
Well,
But they come from where there be, they used to get down for a week or two, and now it's like a day or two. And then as time goes on, then it's, a few hours and they're able to pop out. And what's really exciting and joyful about that is they start being able to trust themselves. They start realizing, I am going to pop out, my joy, my well-being, whatever you want to call that underneath. I can pop out. I can learn to trust it. It's there for me, and I just need to use the tools that will help me.
yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think there too there's a lot of people out there, especially with what we went through last year in 2020, part of this year as well. I think there's a lot more people experiencing anxieties, things that probably are a little scary because a lot of people have never experienced that.
Yeah.
If you're not someone that has dealt with a mental illness or mental health issues in your life to a certain extent, and you're now starting to feel anxiety and things, depression even, um, you don't know what, I mean, what do? You mean, you all I know, I mean, I grew up around it, but I've talked to lots of people that haven't, and their thing is when you talk about mental illness or wellness or whatever you want to talk about with them is they kind of deflect and talk about someone they know from a distant. Oh, went to school with someone that had this, and
Right.
it's kind of a, let's not talk about that because that's yucky and we don't want to go there. But we all deal with that, and
Yes.
now we're dealing with it more.
Mhm.
So let us talk about it, right? Let us bring
Yeah.
that up because that's the way we're going to overcome those waves and those hurdles that are going to be coming into our lives that we don't expect, and
Yeah. Absolutely. And music being such an important part, and during this time when so many people have had a lot of isolation, one thing that they still always had available to them was music. So if they knew
mhm,
how to use that as a tool to support them, and like you said earlier, I love it when you said, even if that's just 5 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes while you're getting ready, or it doesn't, not everybody wants to do a full out hour meditation with music, although that's my bliss. I love meditating to music,
yeah.
but but even just a few minutes kind of setting the tone for your day.
But getting to an hour of meditation takes discipline, takes
Oh yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
You can be that 1% that's just naturally passionate and falls in. But for most people, it's like anything, it's like exercise, right? You don't go out and run a 5-minute mile on day one. You have to work many, 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 many years and
Yeah.
probably have a little bit of talent to boot.
Right.
So in meditation is very much an exercise and in a discipline in that way. And so if you're able to do 5 and then maybe do
Totally.
10 and it take this is this may be a bad metaphor, but it's the whole music, it's the whole piano lesson thing that I hear so many times in my field, because I'll sit down and play for someone in their home or out and about wherever, and people will come up to me all the time and just say, "Oh, I used to take piano lessons." And I'd be like, "Why don't you play anymore?" "Well, I want to. I just haven't got back into it and I quit." Well, I quit right there. I quit. Well, maybe you weren't passionate enough about it. Maybe it was a chore for you. Maybe your mom made you do it.
Yep.
Maybe there's a reason you dislike this. And it's the same thing with meditation. I mean, people do that all the, say,
Hmm.
"Oh, I used to do meditation. I used to have some sort of a mindfulness practice." Well, why don't you anymore? Well,
Hmm.
because you were starting off with 30-minute, 45-minute, hour-long sessions, and it became a chore for you and not something that you enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
And that's
No.
you have to do something that you enjoy. And if 5 minutes gets you joy out of something, whether it's meditating, a walk, anything, it's success and it's something you can feel good about, right? Rather than going, "Man, 30 minutes is a long time. I don't know if I want to do that." Well, then don't do it because it's not going to be fun. You're going to quit.
And I think too, when I speak of meditation too, there's quite a loose set of interpretations around that,
Mm,
what that means.
yeah.
I understand, there's people and practices that have devoted their entire life to this subject alone. So, but I try to speak more to what hopefully more people can relate to. And to me, meditation is whatever puts you in your bliss.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be perfect bliss. Just, if that means some days I might be able to, lay back in my chair with my favorite fuzzy blanket and put in some kind of music that speaks to me and just close my eyes and listen for an hour. And it's effortless
Hmm.
because it's just like I'm in the music, I am the music. It's just, you know, and that's for me as much, if not more, benefit of say a silent hour of meditation, which is much more of a practice and can be much more of a specifically spiritual practice.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing something that brings you joy and that, when you've done it, you feel better. When you've done it, you feel more connected, then that's that's what you're set out to accomplish. And it's really accomplished the right thing.
Well, a lot of people have that image in their head of the yoga pose, the going on, and
Right.
like 5 minutes sitting here at the piano is meditation enough for me. I mean,
Yeah,
so
there you
that's
go.
there,
Perfect.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like diets. No one diet fits
Yeah,
all. Sorry,
yeah,
whoever thinks that. My
yeah.
apologies. It does.
It
It does
doesn't. It
not.
doesn't.
There's too many different kinds of people, too many life scenarios, too many, biologically and inherited issues. Like it just isn't. So instead of feeling like you're failing at someone else's prescribed diet, find what works for you. And the same is for meditation or music or just finding your joy, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, we're running out of time, so I want to, but
Okay.
I wanted to find out if you wanted to play something today or not. And if not, we'll send people
I,
to you.
I would be happy to. We are over Zoom, so I hope the quality is acceptable. I'll play a
Okay.
little chord here. Let me know how that sounds.
It's very nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll play a song, a short song called Mirrors. I wrote for in dedication memory of my mom.
Oh,
But it's I think it's a beautiful piece. So hopefully you enjoy that as well.
lovely. Thank you.
Alrighty, there you go.
Thank you. Oh, that
Oh,
was so beautiful.
thank you.
I could just feel the love with which you wrote it. It comes through. I'm sure in my own takeaway, my own experience, but you can just feel that sense of connection and devotion and love and compassion, which is just so beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh,
It's
it's my
such a
pleasure,
treat,
Anne.
such a treat for all my viewers too. So tell me, what is the best place for people to find you, check out your music, get in touch with you? Go ahead and share that with
So
us.
yeah, if to listen to the music, it's all free on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/by Christopher. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram at Awaken Music Productions, or you can email me at awakenmusicproductions@gmail.com. So
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm sure people will. And I know sometimes you're on Clubhouse and you give
yeah.
the little treats of music there. So yeah, check him out and check out his feed on Instagram too, and kind of find out where he is and what he's doing. Well, thank you so much, Christopher, for being here today. It's been such a special treat. I can't wait to share this with everybody. So yeah, any final thoughts to leave people about music and
Oh
mental?
boy, I appreciate you having me on and getting to chat with you. This is fun. I love talking about music, but I think like I said before, the one thing I think you can do for yourself every single day is do something for you.
Absolutely.
you can fill in the blank yourself, but do something for you.
Do something for you.
So thanks again, Anne. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, everybody, do something for you. Find your joy. You can find out more about Christopher. He just gave you his information. You can find out more about me on my website, annscottlin.com, or check out my feeds on Twitter and Instagram at AnnScottlin. If you'd like to know more about the work I do, you can check out my workshops on my website. I do the Power of Joy workshops, and for a really special experience, whether it's to up your business game or to just increase your own personal well-being in life, check that out. Also, check out my brand new book. Also on the website is Live for Joy. My brand new book, Live for Joy, is for sale now on Barnes & Noble. So check that out on the website, or you can go directly to the book, which is liveforjoybook.com. Thank you all for being with us today. May your day be filled with joy, and I'll see you again next week.